everyone, it's Sam. Today I'm just gonna be throwing on the wheel and figured we could just do a little life update. And one of the things I kind of wanted to talk about today was like overcoming fears and just what I've kind of noticed lately with a lot of people, just the world in general right now. And then like just some random thoughts that I had. And then we're gonna be trying to throw some more mugs. I'm working with about 1.5 pounds today. I'm using some reclaimed clay. I have been mixing the non-sand with the sand that I have, and so just trying to wedge those together. I spent an hour the other day doing that, and my arms hurt so bad after. Like, I need to stop. So I got them all ready, and today I'll actually be using them. So we'll see how that goes. I haven't actually used this mix yet. I just took some pieces that I've had sitting since before I left for Missouri that were ready to go, and I just didn't have time to take them before. So those finally went to the kiln, and I'm super excited to see how one in particular comes out when it comes back. And then the other ones I'll be super excited for once I figure out how I want to glaze them, as long as none of the handles have any cracking. So I'm kind of playing with different shapes right now, both the mug body and the handle, seeing which one feels the best, which one I like the best, and then I'll kind of narrow it down to one design, try to get a lot of those pieces and work more on the like surface design. So I've got my setup already, I've got all my tools here, I've got my clay, I got some warm water because it is a little cold in here today, and we'll just get started. So I guess we'll just start with a little update while I kind of get ready. I got a little break from work to go see my dad's side of the family for about a week, which was nice. I was very lucky to miss the cold on both before and after I went, so I was in like the perfect time of it being just like mild winter. There was no snow, thankfully, and got to hang out with my family, got to hang out with my little sister. I took her to this old school arcade that we found. It was a lot of fun. And then I've been back since last week or the week before now, and work was just immediately gung-ho, we're busy, which can't say I'm mad about, but I haven't been able to do any pottery. Kind of just getting back into it. I did throw a couple pieces last week, just playing around with everything again, but I'm ready to get back into like a full swing of things this week and hopefully next week. Again, we're just hitting busy season, so the weeks will come and go as they please, and this may just be a weekend thing for right now, but totally okay. I enjoy sitting here for a long period of time and being able to just focus. I was gone just a little bit before Valentine's Day, and so for Valentine's Day, my boyfriend comes in here at like 5 in the morning and he sets up this whole photography setup over here behind me. He built the stand, he bought the like nice soft lights, and it's like, it's just so nice and it looks so much better, and I can't wait to take new pictures of all my pieces and really kind of get into more of this. I'm ready to get into the selling side as I have more pieces, and it makes it feel like these will be much more like, they'll be more attractive when they're posted online, because I've always struggled with that a little bit. He is by far the best gift giver because he can literally build anything, and I'm always like, I can't even compete with this. Obviously it's not a competition, but I'm always like, I got you silly gifts. He also helped me put my actual wheel on a pallet, because before I just felt like I was so short. So now you can see like I can actually put my elbows here and not just be like knee high. And so far it's felt so much more comfortable, and it's really helping my back already. So I'm hoping long term like this works. It feels pretty stable, and the wheel itself doesn't move that much, so I think we should be good. So I don't have a lot of actual like life updates because again, it's just been very work home focused. I'm kind of getting back into my routine. I'm trying to teach my cat how to be used to brushing her like pants. She's a long-haired cat and she's hated brushing since I got her, but the older she's getting and the longer it gets, there's just more matting, and she hates me just touching it. So I'm trying to work on like treat training with her, and I bought this really soft brush, so she's seeming a little bit better with that. I don't have many pottery updates because I haven't been on the wheel in like a month. So I took like 7 or 8 pieces to get this fired today. So that'll get me into glaze mode again, and then hopefully whatever I make today will be good. I posted this little trinket jar that I tried to make a lidded jar, which actually turned out really cute. And then I forgot about it. So it went bone dry and I couldn't actually trim it. So one of the things I've just kind of been noticing in our world in general is so many of us are fear driven, which makes sense given the current state of the world and just like how people can be raised, and depending on how you grow up, it totally makes sense. But I think as we get older, you have a choice to either let that fear consume you and never work on improving that, or you work past that and you do things anyway. And I've seen so many people just get stuck, and they're like, this fear is just all consuming. They're scared of anything, everything, and they just like make these super compulsive decisions that they're like, this is gonna be my big break, but then they fall into the same habits. And I myself have felt that way, and just looking at where I am now versus where I used to be, a lot of it was you have to do the work anyway. You can't let fear just scare you away from everything. And fear is literally itself scary. But what are you gonna do when you have to fight against it? And one thing I was talking about with my boss was her daughter is only, I think she's 10, barely double digits. And she had to go to the dentist and get some teeth removed. That's scary, that's still scary to me. But she tried to teach her daughter, like, yes, it's gonna be scary, but you're gonna be okay. And what to do when you have those emotions rather than blocking them out. And I think we just get so in our heads, and it makes sense because our brain is there to protect us. It's not there to care about how we necessarily feel. But it can be so overwhelming that you're not living anymore. The world that we're living in is hard, and it shouldn't be harder because you're scared to leave the house or you're scared to do something. The unknown is always going to be there. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try, because it could work out. And failure is going to teach you more than success ever will. And even for a long time myself, I used to think, well, like, why would I be successful? Like, why me versus over someone else? Like, why would I even deserve that? Yes, I do deserve this. It's all about the hard work, and it's not like I'm more lucky than anyone else. It's that every day I wake up and I try to do something to improve myself. That doesn't always go how I'd like it to, and some days I really don't want to do anything, or I'm tired, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. But having that emotional capacity and that mental ability to put my feelings aside and be like, well, I need to do the work, otherwise I won't get to XYZ or whatever. And no, not every day is fun, but it has gotten me to a really good place in my career and also personally. And it's never really done me wrong to try to work on myself. And I think a lot of people think that they can't do it. It is hard work. Hard work is very rewarding in itself. And another thing that is a big killer for people is just comparing yourself to others. Like, don't compare yourself to someone who has no similar goals at you, or say, oh, you wish you were that person who's put in 20 years of their life into a very specific goal, and you're just starting out and you're like, well, why am I not there? Like, that's just that's not fair. Not only to yourself, but it's not fair to the other person, because they did work really hard. They just spent 20 years working to get where they were. Why should you get that overnight? So I just kind of think, like, what you do in response to fear itself shows a lot about who you are as a person. It does start to separate people who are successful and people who are struggling a lot, because by the time, and I know there's tons of other things in play, but when you're 30, 40, 45, whatever. At a certain point, you have to realize you've been doing the same thing every single time, and it's no longer working. There's no such thing as a quick fix. There's no such thing as just being lucky and it having to happen one day. You have to be willing to make a change. And one example I'll give even like right now, this pottery thing. I could say, oh, I want to get better, I want to get better, I want to get better. But if I'm putting in 1 hour a week, am I ever gonna get really better? Am I ever going to be able to sell a piece? Probably not. It will always be a hobby. If I have time to set aside 20 or 30, 15, 20 hours a week, yeah, I'll probably get better. It's going to still be hard compared to someone who is able to do this full time, but I'll be able to see a lot. It's about progress, and I think people don't want to put in the hard work for that, and they want some magic miracle. They also don't really want to evaluate when something isn't working. And there's so many things to be scared of in this world, so I'm not talking about like the average phobia. I'm talking about letting it stopping you from live. Money is a totally different thing. It's about mindset, and it will always be about mindset. Coming from someone who is trying to put in the work and who is going, I'll be honest, I go to therapy every week, but I enjoy it, and it does help me because it holds me accountable. And if you can't hold yourself accountable, you should seek help for that. There's nothing wrong with that. Accountability will make you far more successful than any guide out there, any get-rich-quick scheme, anything out there that's like, oh, you could do this. Someone's telling you that, but are you actually putting in the work to do that thing, you know? I'm a very goal-oriented person. That is how I figure out like where I want to. I can't stay stagnant, and some people are okay with that, and that's fine. But if you're complaining about everything, or constantly see yourself as like the world wronging you, you're never going to improve. This is for someone who wants to do better. I'm not trying to change someone who is okay with their lives and being in a very particular place, because there's still growth outside of that. This is for someone who knows that they're struggling but can't figure out why. Like, it's okay to seek help. It's okay to like get support and find some sort of means, as long as that's what you want, you know? I'm not a motivational speaker. I don't know if this is going to help anyone, but it just like recently I thought about it, because it's been very prevalent in the people around me. I love all of them, but at some point there is some this is not centered. That's over there. She's a little wonky. Like I said, it's been a minute since I did this. I probably should have shut up instead of talk. One thing I am trying to learn myself, and I think this is a great example of like people need to learn for themselves, is I am a doer, and I like things to get done, but I'm trying to learn to let people fail on their own, and that's hard because I also like helping, but what I'm learning is like people need to learn for themselves, and they're never going to learn if you do it for them. But it's hard to draw a line on that because I want to help, but it is doing a disservice to me. It's doing a disservice to them. Like I said, it's been about a month since I've really been on the wheel, so do not judge this one. I think fear is also just like the killer. It's a killer of joy, you know? You are so scared that your fight or flight kicks in, and there's so much to be happy about. But I've been there, you know. I've been in a terrible relationship. I've been just living a life that I had wanted like nothing to do with. But instead of letting fear of the unknown, I was like, no, I know there's a better life out here, and I'm gonna find it. and I'm not gonna let anyone stop me. And that does sound like it's coming from a place of privilege. But I did have to work very hard to, I had to work very hard to get there. Do I see it?